Please be seated. We are pleased that you could join us this evening for the 2019 University of Alaska Southeast Sitka Campus Commencement Ceremony. I'm David Phelps, Student Services Manager for the campus. Before we start, I would like to remind you to silence your cell phones and other devices. Please be aware of our two exits in the front and in the back. Restrooms are out the front door, down the hall to the right, and then turn left at the corner. For parents with small children who may need to stretch their legs or their lungs, we've set up a cry room across the hall in room 216, where the ceremony will be live streamed on the video monitor in that room. Now, I would like to invite Ms. Sarah Brewer to stand for the singing of the Alaska flag song.
Eight stars of gold on a field of blue, Alaska's flag, may it mean to you. The blue of the sea, the evening sky, the gold of the early sourdough streams, the precious gold of the hills and streams, the brilliant stars in the northern sky, the bear, the dipper, and shining high, the great North Star with its steady light, o'er land and sea, a beacon bright, Alaska's flag to Alaskan steer, the simple flag of the last frontier.
Thank you, Sarah. That was beautiful. I would now like to introduce you to the Sitka Campus Director, Leslie Gordon. Leslie joined the Sitka campus as a full-time faculty member in 2006 and was promoted to full professor of health information management in 2017. She was promoted to become the Sitka Campus Director in May of last year. Please help me welcome Director Leslie Gordon.
Thank you. Welcome, proud parents, grandparents, brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, cousins, spouses, sons and daughters, and friends of our graduates. Thank you for being here. Welcome, dedicated faculty, staff, administrators, and regents. Welcome and congratulations to the University of Alaska Southeast Sitka Campus class of 2019. To signal the achievements of their students, American institutions of higher learning conduct formal ceremonies to award the appropriate degrees and credentials earned at the conclusion of a prescribed course of study. The act of taking the certificate, occupational endorsement, or degree, as well as the designation of the day itself, is known as commencement. Historically speaking, the term commencement originally referred to the time when an apprentice would begin his or her apprenticeship. It then later became the name of the day in which master's and doctorate degrees were conferred, as it represented the day on which masters and doctors could commence their work. Today, commencement marks the time when students who have finished their preliminary education set out upon the career for which they have prepared. Graduates, we celebrate your achievement in this commencement ceremony and recognize the milestones in your educational and vocational journeys, a milestone worth celebrating. In total numbers, this year's graduation is one of the largest we have ever had, with students completing a total of 161 UAS Sitka campus degrees, certificates, or occupational endorsements. However, 70 to 80% of our students attend class online. Many of our graduates are unable to join us tonight and will therefore be receiving their degrees in absentia. Additionally, we are happy to recognize 20 additional University of Alaska students living right here in Sitka who are receiving degrees from other University of Alaska campuses, and they have been invited to participate in our local ceremony. I would like to introduce our podium guests on the stage tonight. Starting from your left is Dr. Paul Lair, University of Alaska Statewide Vice President for Academics, Students, and Research. And then we have Regent Dale Anderson from the University of Alaska Board of Regents. He has joined us this evening in Sitka to officiate the conferral of certificates and degrees. Next to Regent Anderson is Associate Professor of Art, Elizabeth Zacher. Then Dr. Karen Carey, UAS Provost, joins us again this year from Juneau. Next to the Provost is our commencement speaker, Dr. Burgess Bowder. And and finally, we have Dr. Rick Caulfield, UAS Chancellor. I'd like to thank them for joining us tonight. This evening, our graduates' names will be read by Tricia Lee. She's sitting over here, wave. UAS Registrar, who is joining us from Juneau this year. Students were also given the option to have their heritage name read aloud. Robbie Littlefield, our instructor of Alaska Native Languages, will present those names. I'd also like to recognize Dr. Jeffrey Loftus, wave, from the UAS College of Education at UAS. He's seated with the faculty. Thank you for traveling to Sitka in order to help us recognize your Sitka-based graduates. Also attending from Juneau is Cody Bennett. He's the manager of user and IT services, and he's here to help us with our technology and our video streaming. So thank all those people. This campus works to serve our community and our region, and the Sitka Campus Advisory Council helps us do that. I would like to acknowledge and thank our Advisory Council members for their service. This council, with its members from across Sitka's businesses, industry, and government, ensures that campus remains in touch with the needs of Southeast Alaska. We really appreciate their involvement and input. Thank you to those members. And finally, I would like to acknowledge the faculty and staff who provide the teaching excellence and administrative support critical to our students' success. They are the heart of this institution. They are dedicated to serving our students in person and in virtual environments, including our online learning platforms, through email and by phone. Will all of the faculty and staff please stand and be recognized? Thank you. Tonight, we have asked some people to speak of the paths they have taken through life and the role that education played in those journeys. First is our UAS Chancellor, Rick Caulfield. Dr. Caulfield's extensive university experience began when he served as an instructor in Alaska's Bristol Bay campus, part of the University of Alaska Fairbanks. In addition to teaching at the campus, he was a commercial fisherman. His UAF career includes teaching, research, and service that led to tenure and promotion to the rank of full professor of the Department of Alaska Native and Rural Development. He served as a department chair, academic program leader, campus director, and dean. He took the position of UAS provost in 2010 and was chosen to serve as chancellor in 2015. Dr. Caulfield earned his PhD through studies in Aboriginal subsistence whaling in Greenland and the Arctic. He earned his master's degree in education from the University of Alaska Fairbanks and BA and BS degrees from the University of California, Berkeley in political science and natural resources. He speaks both Danish and the Greenlandic Inuit language. Chancellor Caulfield strongly believes in service to his community and serves on boards and committees such as the Juneau Economic Development Council and Juneau World Affairs Council. I'm pleased to introduce Rick Caulfield at this year's commencement.
Well, thank you, Leslie, and thanks to all of you for being here to celebrate our UAS graduates at the Sitka campus. It's a joy to be here with you tonight. All together at the University of Alaska Southeast, our three campuses, Juneau, Sitka, and Ketchikan, we will have about 650 awards, degrees and certificates, occupational endorsements. So this truly is a very exciting time. We're here tonight in Sitka. Tomorrow we'll go to Ketchikan for the campus commencement there, and then back to Juneau on Sunday afternoon for commencement there as well. To express my appreciation for being on the ancestral homeland of the Tlingit people, I offer my introduction in Tlingit. Anya Kusani, Gunshchish Hati Adi, Rick Caulfield Ye Hut Duasak, UAS Chancellor Ayakhat, Ta'adeye Hut Nayu, which means forgive me for my mistakes if I make those along the way. To our graduates here before us, and also those who are watching online, today is your day. It's my pleasure to congratulate you for achieving your educational goals. All of us assembled here today, including family and friends, faculty, and staff, are here to honor your achievements. Each of you set a goal for yourself. You worked hard, you overcame obstacles, and you persevered. And today, as a result, today is the day to celebrate and You should be proud of that. As university students, UAS graduates are a pretty special group. While some are able to go to school full-time, most graduates have taken classes on a part-time basis, and in some cases, doing so while raising a family or taking care of a family member. Many of you have worked a job, or maybe two, alongside your studies, and most likely you've taken some of your classes, if not all of your classes, online. Many of our students have faced significant challenges in their lives, but still they persevered. Graduates, we're proud of you, and we're excited to see where life takes you. As an example of how special our Sitka graduates are, I learned about the life and accomplishments of one of those graduates, Tracy Katzenberger, who is from Kenai and Soldotna. She's enrolled in the medical assisting program, largely online, but earning her degree through the Sitka campus. Our faculty member, Amy Samuel, tells me that Tracy plans to continue toward her associate's degree in health sciences. But what's even more amazing to me is that Tracy is also raising a family of 10 children, several of them foster children. She's been an enthusiastic participant in the medical assisting program since she first enrolled. Professor Samuel notes how Tracy focuses intently on mastering the course curriculum and is always well prepared for clinical skills labs. She's attentive, thorough in her work, and a master of time management, and I'm sure she needs all of that to manage 10 children, but those are also great skills for being a competent medical assistant. Tracy is a leader amongst her fellow students and has agreed to become a member of the program's advisory committee to help future students as they progress through the program. Tracy represents the best of our graduates, juggling family and other obligations with a strong desire to succeed in her chosen field as a medical assistant. So congratulations to Tracy, and congratulations to all of our graduates today who are also balancing family and work obligations and studies as you complete your degree. In wrapping up, I want to echo the comments of Director Leslie Gordon in thanking the parents and the spouses and the children and the grandparents and the aunties and uncles and other family members who are here to celebrate our graduates. We know that behind all successful graduates is a support team of family and friends. So thanks to all of you who are here to support your graduates tonight. And I also want to express appreciation to our staff and our faculty in supporting these students. At UAS, student learning and student success are the core of what we're about. Faculty provide quality instruction that leads to excellent learning. Staff provide support services and advising that promote student success. So to the faculty and the staff alike, I thank all of you for your dedication to our students. And on that note, I'd also like to offer special congratulations to Professor of Biology Kitty LaBounty, who's been promoted to Associate Professor here on the Sitka campus. Well-deserved recognition for her teaching and service over many years. And also a note of thanks to Professor Reed Brewer, an innovator who's provided excellent work in developing our fisheries technology program and who is moving with his family to take a new position as director of the Kachemak Bay campus in Homer. So we wish him well. So again, to our graduates, congratulations on a job well done. Thank you. And now I get to go on to a special task, the presentation of a well-deserved meritorious service award. And I'd like to take a moment to speak about one of Sitka's local celebrities, Dr. Burgess Bowder. In your program, you'll notice a bumper sticker that says, "What would Burgess do?" A few years back, Burgess Bowder's good friend, and a friend of mine as well, Kari Lundgren, wanted to honor Burgess for his 65th birthday, even though he repeated over and over that he had already received everything he could ever want. So she decided to honor him with a fun enterprise. She had these bumper stickers made and gave them out by the hundreds to see how long it would take for him to notice. She said it took about 2 months before he finally saw one on a car parked at C-Mart. Kari states that the bumper sticker speaks to Burgess's two widely known characteristics. Number one, his eccentric ingenuity, and number two, his unconditional, unbridled generosity. Burgess's eccentric ingenuity has gotten him out of untold numbers of pickles, oftentimes in harsh and dire circumstances. So if you're in a bind and you have some duct tape and presence of mind, ask yourself, what would Burgess do? You just might be inspired to some unexpected creative remedies. Having 9 lives like Burgess helps as well. And as for his other characteristic, the thousands of human and pet lives he's touched through the decades, and many times over saved, they will testify to Burgess's unconditional, unbridled generosity that I mentioned before. Burgess grew up in Tacoma, Washington. His father was a salesman and a liquor distributor, while his mother was a homemaker with a keen wit who was good at imitating European dialects. According to Burgess's good friend John Straley, who is here with us tonight, who wrote the book about the tales of Burgess in the recently published book Animal Nature, A Portrait of Burgess Bowder, he was an excellent student, and he was the only student athlete at Washington State allowed to participate in varsity football while pursuing his degree in veterinary medicine. He then went on to Texas A&M, where he almost received his PhD in pathology, but ultimately decided not to, due in part to his unwillingness to wear a tie. He instead moved to Sitka, where he's been a veterinarian for more than 40 years. His practice focuses on helping pets whose owners have limited financial resources. By saying, what would Burgess do? You're asking yourself to take your top-notch understanding of veterinary pathology, surgery, psychology, and medicine and share it freely with any animal that crosses your path, regardless of the owner's ability to pay. You would do this Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., or on call 24 hours a day for the majority of the year for over 40 years, with the exception of the winter dive season. You would be sincerely grateful for the gifts of home-baked bread and pies and cookies, or fresh smoked black cod tips, halibut or salmon, because like your own efforts, you appreciate the effort it would take to procure them. You'd eat them with relish at the end of your workday, exclaiming their virtues. You would take in and mentor young apprentices from doe-eyed, unsuspecting medical students from New York City who needed to learn suturing, to young animal-loving Sitkans looking for work experience or needing a supportive, positive, confidence-boosting workplace experience when no other venue was tolerable or available to them. You would do all of this without batting an eye. And with that spirit of ingenuity and generosity in mind, I would like to ask Regent Dale Anderson to join me at the podium to present the Meritorious Service Award to Burgess Bowder.
Money? No money. We got budget cuts, remember? On behalf of the University of Alaska Regents and the UAS Chancellor Caulfield, I'm honored to present Burgess Bowder with the 2019 Meritorious Service Award for his extraordinary and inspired service to Sitka and the people of Southeast Alaska. At this time, I would like to invite Dr. Burgess to join us here at the podium and offer the commencement address.
Yes, you do.
And we do, not yet. Okay. You may not be clapping when this is over.
First of all, I've never spoken to a group this large before in my entire life. And so I have a prepared text from which I will read. And it's a little bit more candid about me than what you just heard. I mean, really, this is who I am. So here we go. My name is Richard Burgess Bowder. I'm 74. 46 of those years I've lived here in Sitka. It's my intention to die here. I've certainly had ample opportunity to do so in the past, but not in Sequim, Washington. Okay? I'm what happens when your quirky kid grows up. I like that line. When I was in my 50s, I finally got around to asking my father, why have you called me Burgess all my life instead of my first name, Richard? And he said, I refuse to have a Richard Jr. or Richard the second in my home. He said, I wanted you to be different. Well, I guess he got his wish, didn't he? So, besides, I think I'd really be insufferably arrogant if I were Richard II. That just sounds too much like aristocracy. In the era of Bill, Bob, Tom, Dick, and Harry, my name stood out even if I neither physically nor academically did. I was never the smartest kid in the class, but I was always in the room with the smartest kids. Physically, I was the smallest, slowest, and weakest of my competitors, you might say. I learned to lose. I was rarely forced to be a gracious winner. I've never received a participation ribbon or trophy. And I always got the condolence, you lost, Bowder, get over it. My mother, Judith Edvija Zuik, was a left-handed, first Italian. Her first language was Italian, and she was raised by Irish Catholic nuns. Her life was hell. From her, I learned about prejudice. My father was a German-English WASP. He voted for Nixon, lamentably. But he never in my memory ever said one thing in the way of a racial slur. He was a kid from the Sand Hills of Nebraska and a product of the Depression era. I find that to be quite remarkable. Let's see. I've never had what might be viewed in circles. Excuse me. I'm not used to reading this stuff and talking. They had what might be viewed, my mother and father, in some circles as a mixed marriage. It was certainly tumultuous. I'm the product of that union. I'm genuinely befuddled by why I was asked to speak, but I can guarantee you two things. 1 week from today, you will not remember a word of what was said up here. And 2, 30 years from now, you'll remember that I wore pink. Mark my words. Tonight's your night. I would like to depart from the normal commencement format where I prattle on and on about education, service, humanity, and the other aspects of my liberal agenda. These pages have taken me about 5 hours to write, actually probably closer to 10, and I might add 1 sleepless night. You're responsible for this. And but anyhow, for the 5 questions that I will entertain, I have a life of preparation, and I think I'm more ready to do this. So let's get on with it. 5 questions. 5 questions. In a bowl, randomly selected. Whoops. The bowl was there the entire time?
It was.
Can I sort through these and look?
Nope.
Uh-huh. That was fate. Okay, first question. Do I look like a deer in the headlights? Possibly. What would Burgess do? Well, I'm so glad you asked. He would probably select another card. There has to be something more in-depth than this. Better not be the same thing over again. Okay. What's something that scared you as a young person and you now realize was no big deal? I was a fat little kid, and I was bullied for being a kid. Those guys scared me. Well, every dog will have his day. Come senior high school, college, they didn't scare me no more physically, you know. What's truly, what scared you when you were a young person? Addressing a group like this. Face your fears, they say. Okay, well, you don't look all that fearful. I mean, do I look frightened? No. But I would really rather be elsewhere. Okay, next question. I think we got, hell, we may have a whole more than 5 questions answered. What's the best advice you've ever been given? Well, and you know, I never really dwell on my athletics and what I did. But let's just say I was the very last guy on the team when I started. And by the end, I had advanced significantly. But I had the good fortune of having a coach, Lori Nemi, Guy Lori, not girl Lori, Lori Nemi. And one day I made an absolute horrendous error as an offensive guard. I pulled, if you understand football at all, I pulled in the wrong direction. And I ran into the running back, an All-American running back, I might add. I didn't cripple him, but I banged him up a little bit. And the coach, Bert Clark, came over and with, Bowder, hold out your hand. Sir, hold out your hand. I said, which hand, sir? Either hand. And he took a clipboard and he whacked the back of my hand, which would get him prosecuted for assault now. And he said, that's your right hand, the one that hurts. Now go the opposite way. And at the end of that practice, the best advice I ever received was Lori Neese came over, said, you know, Burgess, he said, they crucified the last perfect person. He said, you're doing fine. And well, that was the best advice I've ever given. Everybody makes mistakes. Try not to make the same one twice. Next. Are we there yet? How many minutes do I have left? Who's counting? Huh? What inspired you to be a vet? Well, I was an only child, and my pets were pretty much my companions in my youth. And I loved science. And I loved animals. People, as a veterinarian, you have to like people. You know, there are so many that get into the profession and realize, holy mackerel, sick dogs don't come in. People with sick dogs come in. And that can be quite difficult. That can be an epiphany. That can be an epiphany that you know, go, I just went through 8 years, 4 years of college, 4 years of vet school, and I don't like people. I have the good fortune of liking people. I love dogs and cats. I love medicine. I love science. And I would only wish one thing for you people, and that is you people. Did that sound patronizing? It wasn't meant to be. But I would only wish one thing, that at the end of 49 years in the business, 49 years, and I still look forward to going to work every day. I do not always look forward to going in and cleaning up kennels every day, but I do look forward to taking care of dogs and cats. How many more?
One.
One more.
Pick a good one.
Oh, boy. What lessons have you learned from animals that you might, oh, you're not going to like this, might help our graduates? Okay, the rule in veterinary medicine is the only animal that ever bites you is the one you trust, period. They're the ones that get you. And I would hate to go through, I'd use an expletive, hate like, but I would hate to have to go through my professional career not trusting animals. So can you trust everybody? I extrapolate that out to you. I work with animals. I know that everyone has the potential to, to inflict some serious damage. And so I've learned that from animals. You trust them to a point. But boy, this is good. James, is this going to wind up on the front page of the Senate? Don't trust anybody. No. I would just say that honestly, you learn. I mean, somehow the idea that you have removed their testicles or their ovaries or their uterus or done something quite painful, they don't look and say, "Oh, thank you, doctor, for that." No, they go, and you have to be able to interpret that as real careful. So anyhow, that's it, right? I'm done. Finished. Okay. One last thing. Is this a feminine color? Hey, show of hands. Oh man, in the back of the room. All right, is this a feminine color? Well, in 1918, it sure wasn't. And I might add that probably the two greatest fighters of the 20th century, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson, both owned pink Cadillacs. And just in case you wonder, that Bruce Springsteen's pink Cadillac was not about cars. So, just, I thought I'd clear the air.
I'm really not sure how to follow that. Like, there's more questions we can ask him when we're having the party later. I grew up here in Sitka and spent a lot of time at Burgess's shop as a teenage kid. How many of you did that? Saying, yeah, because you welcomed us. So thank you. And he took one of the eyes out of my favorite cat, but she was great. So thank you for that, Burgess. And you did it. You didn't have a heart attack. You were fine. It was great. So thank you. So graduates, we are now to the point in the program where we can begin to celebrate your accomplishments and confer those credentials and degrees that you have worked so hard to obtain. We will begin tonight's acknowledgement of academic achievements by first recognizing those students who have completed their general education development requirements. To do this, I'd like to invite to the stage our Adult Basic Education Coordinator, Audrey Beam, and Sitka Campus Student Success Manager, David Feltz, and to the floor podium, Alaska Native Language Instructor, Robbie Littlefield, and Registrar Tricia Lee. And I would also like to invite the faculty to stand and do a receiving line.
It is my pleasure to congratulate the individuals who have successfully obtained their general education development diplomas over the past year. It requires great determination, effort, time, and discipline to achieve this final and significant step of what equates to the completion of one's secondary education. To earn these academic credentials, oftentimes when the path to reach these goals is not always a smooth one, is an admirable and commendable accomplishment. We are confident that your GED will serve as a solid foundation and support for whatever you choose to pursue in the next chapter of your life, whether it be advancing workforce opportunities, pursuing post-secondary studies, or continuing ahead with life in another city, state, or country. You can go anywhere from here by keeping one foot in front of the other, as you have already done so fervently in order to achieve this diploma.
Will the students who have completed the requirements for the General Education Development Diplomas please stand and approach the stage to be recognized as your name is read? I'd like to invite Registrar Tricia Lee and Robbie Littlefield at the floor lectern to read the names of tonight's graduates.
Cody Cranford, GED. Summer Cranford, GED.
Congratulations on your achievement. This year and every year, many of our graduates are celebrating their success in such places as Anchorage, Fairbanks, Wrangell, Kotzebue, Seward, Palmer, and so many other Alaskan communities, big and small, that are served by the university through distance education. Though they may not be able to travel to Sitka to join us for the commencement ceremony, we would still like to take time to honor their accomplishments. The online programs of UAS Sitka also make it possible for us to be graduating students tonight from locations much further away, such as Scammon Bay, Alaska, and even Buzzards Bay, Massachusetts. We will read aloud the names of those present tonight, as well as the names of occupational endorsement and undergraduate program students who have taken advantage of distance delivery and e-learning opportunities to complete their program of study from their home communities. All graduates were invited to share a photo to be displayed on the monitors at the sides of the room so we can recognize their accomplishments, wherever they might be celebrating this evening. There are a number of individuals who have started their post-secondary education by earning an occupational endorsement. Students who have completed an occupational endorsement have obtained industry-specific knowledge and skill sets gained in a relatively short time. We would like to recognize each of these students for their accomplishments. This year, UAS Sitka is awarding 143 occupational endorsements and certificates. And we are fortunate that a number of these students could join us tonight. Will the students who have attained an occupational endorsement stand and approach the stage to be recognized as their names are read?
During tonight's ceremony, we'll be taking time to recognize all the students' Alaska Native or First Nation heritage names that were provided to us. By doing this, we are welcoming our ancestors to be here with us, to celebrate our successes of their descendants in the 21st century.
Trevor Ackelcock, OAC Welding. Alex Andrews, occupational endorsement, welding.
Chigik is his native name.
Leland Andrews, occupational endorsement, welding.
Anglund is his native name.
Alicia Atzarak, occupational endorsement, certified nurse aide.
Golaralak is her native name.
Braden Banky, occupational endorsement and welding. Austin Fitka, occupational endorsement and welding.
Ingayak is his native name.
Cody Gibbons, occupational endorsement, construction. Clara Green, occupational endorsement, certified nurse aide. Melissa Guy, occupational endorsement, certified nurse's aide.
Angutak is her native name.
Kavik Hoffman, occupational endorsement and welding. Nelson Jackson, occupational endorsement, welding.
Banilok is his native name.
Terrence Johnson, occupational endorsement, certified nurse's aide. Cyprian Johnson Edwards, occupational endorsement in welding. Faith Kamara, occupational endorsement, construction.
Nirok is her native name.
Jacqueline Kernack, occupational endorsement, certified nurse's aide. Michaela Meyer, occupational endorsement in welding. Mia Navarez, occupational endorsement in welding. Ruger Parker, occupational endorsement in welding. Shelby Samuel, occupational endorsement in welding. Alex Samuelson, occupational endorsement in welding. Ethan Sergi, occupational endorsement in welding. Harlan Standish, occupational endorsement, welding. And in absentia, there is occupational endorsement, certified nurse's aide, Michael Brown, Jessica Carriaga, Bailey Clifton, Bailey Jones, Jacqueline Kernack, Sophie Nethercutt, Nakia Valley, occupational endorsement in fisheries management, Christina Long, occupational endorsement in fisheries technology, Douglas Brooks, Brody Kitch, Kyle Lester, Ann McTurner, Rachel Miller, Joshua Ryder, Emily Schwartz, Michael Smith, occupational endorsement in healthcare information technology, Hazel Early, Jacqueline Swart, occupational endorsement in welding, Nelson Jackson, Reginald Shakely, Isaac Stewart.
Thank you and congratulations to all of these students. We would also like to take a moment to recognize those graduates of the fall 2018 and spring 2019 classes of the Alaska State Trooper Academy, who also completed an occupational endorsement in law enforcement from UAS. Their achievements are celebrated in a separate ceremony hosted by the Department of Public Safety. I would now like to ask Chancellor Caulfield to come to the podium for the conferring of the UAS degrees and certificates.
The UAS Sitka campus delivers its educational programs not only with local and regional leadership, but also under the ultimate authority of the University of Alaska Board of Regents. Regent Dale Anderson has traveled here tonight from Juneau to assist in officiating this commencement ceremony and the conferral of degrees. For honoring the accomplishments of our students and for the conferring of the undergraduate degrees and certificates, I ask Regent Anderson to join me at the podium.
Will the candidates for University of Alaska my pleasure to present these candidates to the University of Alaska. Registrar is certified that they have fulfilled all the academic requirements and the fact that the University of Alaska recommends that these candidates receive their award. Tonight's ceremony honors the achievements of 166 undergraduate program directors who are receiving 186 total undergraduate degrees. Many of these students have attended the University of Alaska Southeast by e-learning from towns and villages across Alaska. Others are local residents who study here in Sitka or by distance other University of Alaska. Although those not present may have been unable to travel to Sitka to participate in the celebration here, we respectfully confer the degrees in absentia. Please note that July means that the 3.5 grade point A. And summa cum laude means correct. Please come forward to accept.
Heather Albertson, Associate of Applied Science, Business. Victoria Compton, Associate of Arts. Jennifer Ide, Associate of Arts.
San Jin, she's Dane Con Clan.
Rachel Larson, Associate of Arts. Anne Marie Rolls, Associate of Applied Science, Business. Shauna Tilley, Associate of Applied Science, Fisheries Technology. Trenton Young, Associate of Applied Science, Health Information Management. Oh, there they go.
Decision to, sorry. Bachelor students? Or we get two bachelor students as well. Go ahead.
Joy Antolin, Bachelor of Business Administration and Accounting. Ginger White, Bachelor of Arts, Social Science. And in absentia, Certificate in Accountant Technician, Patricia Pulitaw. Certificate in Fisheries Technology, Bill Burke.
Her Tlingit name is Kenu Tla, and she is B80.
Certificate in Fisheries Technology, Bill Burke.
His Tlingit nickname is Tlachanes. He's a Tlingit language student.
Certificate in Fisheries Technology, Christina Long. Certificate Healthcare Privacy and Security, Hazel Early. Certificate in Health Information Management Coding Specialist, Tanya Burchett. Juanita DeRose, Hazel Early, Alexandria Jones, Sarah Patterson. Certificate in Medical Assisting, Nicole Alarcon, Tamarack Brodum, Malia Diakonoff, Christine Hansen, Desiree Harris, Christina Hart, Nikita Pancho, Laurentine Rubin, Destiny Watkins. Certificate in Nursing, Taylor Knight, Rose Stockley. Certificate in Pre-Radiologic Technology, Nadia Bean. Certificate in Small Business Management, Charlene Hoppe. Associate of Applied Science and Business Administration, Courtney LaCrone. Patricia Gulatow. Associate of Arts, Shaylin Acker. Ashley Berry. Blythe Larice. Sheena Foster. Taylor Knight. Rachel Larson. Lori Circa. Associate of Applied Science and Fisheries Technology, Kirsten Baltz. Gavin Blood. Bill Burke. Alexandra Dorsey. Christina Long. Chloe Miller. Emily Schwartz. Associate of Applied Science, Health Information Management, Marcos Argolo, Michelle Beamish, Hazel Early.
The decision to continue one's education beyond the baccalaureate level signifies a commitment to becoming highly prepared and specialized in one's field of study. Graduate degrees and post-baccalaureate certifications and licensures serve to identify scholars pursuing an in-depth understanding and mastery of their chosen profession. To recognize the accomplishments of our students and for the conferring of graduate degrees and certificates, I'd like to ask Regent Anderson again to join me at the podium. And will the candidates for University of Alaska graduate degrees and licensure certificates please stand?
Again, it's my pleasure to present these candidates for the University of Alaska degrees and certificates. The registrar has certified that they have fulfilled all the academic requirements, and the faculty of the University of Alaska Southeast recommends that these candidates receive their awards. Derived from medieval origins, academic regalia has been worn by scholars, including pink hoodies, since the 11th century, when the rise of the universities began in Europe. Learned clerks robed themselves in gowns, caps, and hoods, thus making a difference between town and gown. The hooding of a graduate student represents their entry into academia as master scholars. Our visiting faculty, Dr. Loftus, and Vice President for Academic Students and Research, Dr. Paul Lair, will assist in the ceremony gesture as each candidate for the graduate degree is presented. Dr. Loftus and Dr. Lair, please join me at the podium.
Crystal Duncan, Masters of Business Administration.
She's Dave Quady. Her Tlingit name is Ayeti.
Nina Vizcarrondo, Masters in Education.
Tonight, we celebrate your achievement in the presence of your family and your friends. On the recommendation of the Chancellor Caulfield, with his concurrence of President Johnson, and by the virtue of the authority vested in me by the Constitution of the State of Alaska, as a member of the University Board of Regents, I hereby confer upon you the degrees that you have earned all the rights, the privileges, and honors you so richly deserved. Will those of you who are on the stage please join me in welcoming the graduates.
That's the signal. Faculty. We'll kind of wait till they kind of come back because now we have some awards that we're going to present. So with assistance from our faculty and the podium party, Let's begin the Academic Achievement Awards presentation. I will start by asking Assistant Professor of Biology Kitty LaBounty to take the stage to assist me in presenting the Associate of Applied Science Graduate of Distinction Award. And Professor LaBounty didn't know she was doing this till about 10 minutes ago because I forgot to ask her. But she recently got promoted to Associate Professor, so she can do things like on the fly.
Great. That's how it works. Can I move this?
Yes.
There we go. Here we go. So I am pleased to recognize a student of distinction who earned an Associate of Applied Science. The Associate of Applied Science degree provides a solid foundation in mathematics, written and oral communication, natural and social sciences and the humanities, career education, and fine arts. This year's student of distinction is Emmy Rolls. Emmy, can you please join me? Congratulations, Emmy, and thanks for all that you do for all the faculty. So right now I'd like to invite Professor Teresa Bell, Assistant Professor of Health Information Management, to the stage to present the Associate of Applied Science in Health Information Management Graduate of Distinction Award.
I have the privilege to recognize a student of Health Information Management Program as the 2019 Graduate of Distinction. This graduating student was selected collectively by the program faculty for demonstrating active engagement, academic achievement, and a strong professional aptitude during his or her studies. This year's HIM Graduate of Distinction is Trenton Young, who joins us from Ketchikan tonight. Trenton, please join us on stage. Trenton went to UAS Juneau for a year and a half. He then continued his education online and started working at Peace Health Ketchikan in Ketchikan, the very hospital he was born. Due to his dedication and willingness to learn, Trenton was recently promoted to administrative assistant in the facilities department from a patient access representative. I had Trenton in the internship class this last semester. Securing an internship site for Trenton was touch and go at first, due to the site processes. Neither of us were sure if a site was going to happen. We both had put in a lot of effort, and Trenton told me he might have to put floaties on his truck in order to go somewhere else. However, we did secure the site, and Trenton completed his internship within 6 weeks. He was very dedicated. Trenton has been an engaged student through his time in the HIM program. He used the knowledge he gained from the classroom and applied the knowledge or skill to his job. He also shared his experiences and stories to his classmates, helping others to make connections between HIM course content and the HIM field. Thank you, Trenton, for your display of dedication, willingness to learn, and making the learning experience engaging and fun. Congratulations on receiving the Student of Dedication Award and to all you have accomplished. Thank you very much. I would now like to invite Assistant Professor Paul Bonnet to the stage to present the Associate of Arts Graduate of Distinction Award.
Now, this time for some English with accent. Are you ready? God bless my students. But it's not about me. It's about somebody who is outstanding with her achievement. Many of our students pursue a 2-year general studies degree, the Associate of Arts, which is highly transferable to bachelor's program and allows students a great deal of flexibility and room to explore interdisciplinary fields. Several of our faculty instruct courses that fulfill general education requirements and credits for an associate's degree. I'm pleased to recognize a graduate of distinction in the associate's of Arts General Studies program. This graduate is selected collectively by the Sitka Arts and Sciences faculty for demonstrating active engagement in courses, academic achievement, service and leadership on and off campus, and distinguished professional aptitude during her studies. This year's Associate of Arts Graduate of Distinction is Rachel Larson. Rachel, will you please join me on the stage? Well, I would like to say, Rachel, she took with me class AMP2, Anatomy and Physiology, the second part, and she was just so dedicated. She showed her passion for what we studied. Was not easy, but she kind of, when we say this person is outstanding, it's like she stood out for what she wanted to learn. She showed her passion. And I like this word very much. If you want to excel, succeed, you want to show passion, love what you are doing. And she did that. She expressed it very clear. She was the first one to be sitting in the front, unless we start to take video or go online. And she was the last one to leave the class. And sometimes I'm rushing to pick up my children, and she say, "Oh, just let me just ask a couple of questions." And I admired that. And so congratulations, Rachel, on all you have accomplished. I would now would like to give you this outstanding. Now I would like to invite Professor Reed Brewer, Assistant Professor Joel Marcus, and Assistant Professor Angie Brewer of the Fisheries Technology Program to the stage to present the Fisheries Technology Graduate of Distinction Award.
I can find my own. Honored guests, colleagues, family and friends, and of course graduates most of all. I'm honored to stand here before you today to present the Distinguished Fisheries Technology Graduate. The Fish Tech Graduate of Distinction is a graduating student selected by program faculty for demonstrating a high level of engagement in courses, labs, practicum experiences, as well as academic achievement, along with evident passion for the field of fisheries technology and marine sciences. Before I invite today's graduate of distinction, I thought I'd describe her a little bit to you. So I started out by talking to her instructors, and I said, well, what kind of student is this young lady? And across the board, all our instructors said the same thing. She works hard in class, she scores well, and she questions everything, including my punctuation and grammar. About a year ago, this young lady came to Sitka to do some labs, and her instructors noted that she was very engaging, worked with a bunch of the students, so she was great as a member of a team, but also a leader. And she really took time to help people along that maybe struggled a little bit. And so we were really impressed with her then. And then this last summer, when she was doing her internship with Cook Inlet Aquaculture Association, she spent weeks covered in fish slime and bugs, being harassed by bears every day. And she was even marooned on an island surrounded by really fast-moving water on both sides for hours. And yet she's still here with us today. So I'm very glad to honor this type of student that will ask questions in the pursuit of knowledge, is a team player and a leader, but also is one of those students that will kind of conquer barriers and use the tools that she has available to not only succeed, but really thrive. So along with my colleagues, I'm honored to bring, hold on, one more story. A couple of months ago, this young lady called me on the phone and she said, hi, Professor Brewer, it's Shauna. Do you know where this is going, Shauna? She said, this is Shauna. And I said, Shauna who? And she said, the Shauna. And so I don't want to make that mistake today. So without further ado, I'd like to bring our graduate of distinction up to the stage, the student formerly known as Shauna Tilley and currently known as the Shauna. One more thing. One of the things we like to do with the Fish Tech graduate of distinction is make sure that they are they are distinctive. And so this year we're honoring the Shauna, with an honor cord made of hoochies and fish spoons. Be careful if you do congratulate her today. There are no hooks in it, but you'll see Shauna around. So please be sure to congratulate her. She certainly deserves this honor.
Professor Brewer, could you please continue to stay on the stage? So,
Front and center.
front and center. On behalf of the University of Alaska Southeast, the Sitka campus, and the community here in Sitka, I would like to thank you for your service here. Over the last 6 years, you have done unsurmountable things, both things that we can calculate and things that we can't calculate. Some of the things that we can calculate are the over $3 million in grant funding that you have brought to this institution, the over 10 courses that you have created and engineered and pioneered in fisheries, the more than 5 degrees that you have developed for our students and for our program. Not only have you grown this program to over 100 students in headcount, but you have also been not only a leader to this institution and to this community, but you have been a mentor to many of us and a friend. And so with that, I would like to thank you and hopefully be joined by the community in thanking you for your service. We are nothing but excited to see the things that you will do in your new pursuits in Homer. We will sadly miss you, and in the words of Burgess, we will try and follow suit and continuously ask, what would Brewer do? So thank you. And a little something that we hope you will remember us by. There's a wonderful picture of Sitka. Hopefully it will hang on your wall in Homer, and you will remember this beautiful community. So thank you again, Dr. Brewer.
We're going to have each other on speed dial. And if you want us to mail that to you, because I don't think you have any cars or anything here, let us know. At this time, I would like to honor an employee of the Sitka campus who went above and beyond expectations during a medical emergency we had on the campus in March. Sitka Fire Department Chief Dave Miller commended Facilities Services Technician Chad Mulligan for his help with a stressful medical situation and commented that it is rare for a member of the public to assist their teams in such a competent manner. Chad, will you please join me on the stage for your official thank you from the Sitka campus?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chad. Someone said he's going to be horrified. Each year, a student and faculty member are invited to share their reflections on the academic year just ending. Tonight, we will hear from Assistant Professor of Art, Liz Zacher, with her faculty reflection, who will be followed by graduate Trenton Young, who will in turn present the student reflection.
Okay, I know it's been a long night. Thanks, everybody. I'll try not to take too long here. Okay, thank you, everybody. Director Gordon, Regents, Chancellor, Provost, Vice President, everyone who's come to be here on this special day. And I'm so delighted to welcome and congratulate this year's graduating students and their families and their friends. To be called upon to deliver this year's faculty reflection speech is a great honor, albeit slightly terrifying. I'm an art professor. I express myself visually a little bit more often than in public speaking. So anyways, so how does one reflect upon this past year? What was this year like? And the best way that I could sum it up was that, well, this year's been interesting. For some, the world might seem a little broken or strange right now, and in that thought, I realized, now that's something I can talk about. Broken things. Broken things are very familiar to me. So here's a story. During my post-bachelor residency at the Archie Bray Foundation in Helena, Montana, I was invited to my first real big international art show at this National Ceramics Conference that was taking place in Indianapolis, Indiana. There were famous artists everywhere. It was kind of an unbelievable experience to be right out of undergrad and share my work alongside some of my clay heroes. The show consisted of artists of all kind of working within sculptural convention of ceramics, making human figure sculpture. My piece that I had was that I spent about a month making. It was a seated figure about the size of a small child. And the exhibit space there in Indianapolis was this really cool, trendy, recently renovated historic railway station. And all these folks from all over the country came together, and we worked all day to put this very spectacular work up on display for kind of a national audience. And we all sat back to admire the show after we got all the lighting set and labels put in place, and just were feeling pretty proud. And then a train went by. And guess what happened? It shook my piece right off the pedestal, and it smashed into 100, probably closer to 200 pieces. What a train wreck. What do I do? I didn't have a backup piece, to put in its place. So I decided to stay up all night and repair it just in time for the next day when the opening was taking place. And, you could kind of see that there were some cracks in there, but I did a pretty good job of camouflaging it with lots of paint and primer and all the good stuff. And, put a little label on there that it wasn't for sale because it was damaged goods. And so I also put some museum wax to hold it in place in case of more trains. And so I was pretty tired during the opening. I was just kind of waiting for the night to be over, and a gentleman came up and started asking me about the piece, and he noticed it wasn't for sale, and he was like, "Why isn't this for sale?" And I said, I told him the story about how it was horribly broken, and I spent all night with all the adhesives and copious amounts of coffee. And he said, "Well, that makes it even more valuable." He said, "It has experience." I had no idea he was a collector. That was my first big sale I ever made. I learned two things from that night. One, the virtues of epoxy, and then two, that pressing forward in the face of challenges and setbacks, it's the right thing to do. It can be hard sometimes, but it's worth it. So now, in a time that may seem for some filled with challenges, going on to to the next stage in your life. I want to honor and respect how important it is that we come together, celebrate achievements as you start that next chapter. Most of us think of a degree as a path toward a better job, a recognition of an accomplishment. I also want to encourage you to think of it as a tool to bring with you out in the world, help make it a better place. A college degree or certificate is undoubtedly a key to new opportunities, opening doors to unknown futures. And you might remember in my introduction that I have a couple degrees in ceramics, but I actually started my school path out as a psychology student. So just know you might start one path and it might lead you onto new and unexpected paths. I started in psychology because I knew I wanted to help people. And despite the changes I made as a student, I still feel like I'm doing what I set out for as a teacher. And also because Clay is a great teacher. Clay teaches patience. You can't rush it. You can't rush the kiln. Some pieces may take 2 weeks from start to finish. Some can take months. Clay can teach courage. It takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there as an artist, and not everyone's going to like what you do, but you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you. Clay also teaches you the value of letting go sometimes. Oftentimes, things don't work out the way you are expecting them to, both in life and in clay. Some things crack, slump, break, bloat, warp, colors come out wrong, they overfire, they underfire, lids get stuck. Some things you can fix. Most you can't. You just have to let them go, start again. Don't hold on to your failures. Learn from them and let go. And lastly, clay can teach you perseverance. When everything fails, and it sometimes does, you don't give up. You just keep going until you get it right. One of my clay heroes, a British artist, Grayson Perry, often says that working in clay is an exercise in controlling disappointment, which I tell my students a lot, because as a teacher, when you're trying to shape your students to kind of overcome those barriers, it's good to know you're not the only one that's faced with challenging times. And that broken thing, that broken piece. I also wanted to add that in Japan, there's a 400-year-old technique used for repairing broken pottery with gold. It's called kintsugi. And it's done to actually highlight those scars as a part of the design, using it as a metaphor for life's imperfections, those values and our experiences that challenge us. Those scars are often the things that define us the most, and in very powerful ways. And so I'm not telling you this story to dazzle you with my advanced skills in adhesive technology or anything like that. I'm telling you this because we're all here today. You're earning your degrees and certificates because you didn't give up. And I encourage you to keep not giving up. You might have picked up some scars along the way, but these are your experiences and they're beautiful. Be creative in whatever you do. Creativity can be full of mistakes, and we can learn a lot from broken things. Our failures teach us the most, and know that the learning never ends. So go out there with your degrees and certificates, maybe a little glue handy, and make the world a better place. I'm really proud of all of your accomplishments, and I'm so glad that you're in this world. So congratulations, class of 2019. Thank you.
I would now like to invite graduating student Trenton Young to give his student reflection. Trenton was born and raised in Ketchikan, his parents' hometown. He formed a programmers club in high school. His hobbies and passion have always been technological arts. and he loves tinkering with data and scripting. A first-generation college student, Trenton moved to UAS Juneau for a year and a half and then continued his education online while returning home to work at the hospital he was born in. Trenton.
Good evening, everyone. If I could have just a moment of your time at the end here, I'd like to speak to the kids like me, those first-generation students, those unprepared for the unknown, anyone who wants to prove that they have what it takes but aren't quite sure what it is or how to prove it. I want to tell you all about the philosophy that led me to this stage and the one that will carry me away from it when we're done here. I did not feel properly equipped going into my first semester in college, but with some time, I picked up a few tricks. There are two things in particular that brought me this far. The first was the idea that a degree isn't a map, it's more like a landmark. One of the first assignments in my degree program in HIM was to go on this website and use a career map to see how I might get the job that I wanted, which degree path I needed to take, which job line, basically. I opened it up and thought, wow, that's not exactly what I expected. And I began to worry. What if this isn't worth it? What if I get through this and I'm stuck in this box of umpteen jobs that I'm capable of? And that's it. That's my life. I was needlessly worried that I was trapping myself. It took entering the workforce to get the perspective I needed to break down that barrier. I found people with degrees in completely separate fields working alongside me in the hospital. High school led me to believe that the world was so rigid, so restricted to those things planned. But I then saw that merit truly was appealing, and it would get you places you could never get before. This degree may not have been exactly what I expected it to be, but it was an invaluable learning experience otherwise, and so much more. Additionally, this degree, and then others, will prove to be a boon and a half, not only in the obvious sense that now I have a college education, which is, of course, a value that cannot be understated, but in another sense that a degree displays other qualities about you. You're driven. There's a stark difference between primary and post-secondary education. In high school, there are a lot of people who may hold you accountable, make sure you get things done. Mom, dad, your teacher, or other mom, whoever. In college, it's the true test of whether or not you will get it done. Nobody's there to hold your hand anymore. Nobody can make you succeed but you. I believe that completing a degree proves that you have a strong work ethic. College is a full-time job. Completing my studies while fully employed has been the most difficult test of time management and integrity of my lifetime so far, easily blowing any runners-up out of the water. But you know what? I did it. We did it. And we can say that we did. We got those fancy papers to back it up. All that being said, the single proudest aspect displayed by completing these degrees, in my opinion, is the dedication to self-improvement that becomes apparent. When one goes to university, they're investing in themselves. This investment pays off in the forms of personal growth, broadened horizons, expanded knowledge, of course, employability, opportunities not afforded otherwise. The list goes on. This degree will prove that we've made immense investments in ourselves to improve and be our best selves. It will show everyone that we'll hold ourselves accountable to be better than we once were. Self-improvement has always been a value of mine from early in my upbringing, inspired by lifelong learners such as my grandmother, whose devotion to education and the teaching of others was a beacon in my personal educational journey. If you remember anything from this flowery speech, let it not be the honeyed words. Remember that what all of us have done out here is more than just possible. When I was younger, it just seemed like some people were magically good enough to have a college degree. But it takes hard work. It isn't just some magical thing. It's doable. It's been achieved. That's something I didn't really grasp when I was younger. If someone could have just expressed honestly to me that the basic values and skills involved in completing a degree, not just going to college, but actually completing it, I may have been able to make this speech a bit sooner. But I won't fret the past. Rather look forward to the future, proud to be ahead of where I was at the beginning. This thing we've all done here is a triumph. Make no mistake. Everyone in here today has done what they set out to do, whether that be the beginning, a landmark, or the end of a journey. We've completed the requirements, we've proved we deserve this, and now we're going to show the world what we're made of. So thank you all for being here to help us celebrate. To self-improvement, to personal bests, and to the paths that lie before us all. Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you, Trenton and Liz, for those remarks. I feel such a connection with this class because next week I'm traveling to Boston to attend my son's graduation from college. So I just am a little emotional and feel very attached to you guys. But congratulations on everything that you have accomplished. And now's the fun part. So you get to stand, please. Much better than you did that earlier. Good job. And now to make it official, graduates, would you please move your tassel from the right side of your cap to your left, signifying that your journey from student to graduate is complete. Please join me in congratulating them. Thank you, graduates. You may be seated. A celebration like this cannot happen without hard work and contributions of many people. Again, thanks to the stage party for traveling here to make this evening a special occasion. Special thank you to Burgess Bowder for the answers to our most pressing questions in life. Thank you, Regent Anderson, for your attendance on behalf of the Board of Regents. Let's also thank Cammie Daniels and Joshua Houston for our music, which they will resume in the atrium as we begin our reception. And Sarah Brewer for her solo recital of the Alaska Flag Song. Unseen to most of us was the long, hard work of the commencement work group, especially Emmy Rolls. With the help of Assistant Director of Business Operations and Special Projects, Jill Hansen, I would like to thank the committee. So will the following people please stand up? Emmy Rolls, Kim Davis, Cheryl Strami, Teresa Bell, Susie Fierro, told you I'd get you to stand up, David Feltz, Randy Nutting, and Greg George. It was so not stressful, honestly. It was awesome. Thank you to the faculty and staff volunteers who helped make this evening. What an outstanding job. Thank you so much. And a final thank you to our graduates and their families. You have earned this special ceremony with your many long hours of sacrifice, dedication, and hard work. We are really very, very proud of what you have achieved and wish you the best. Please join us for a reception following the recessional. The food will be served at the front atrium downstairs, and dining tables can be found in room 106 nearby. Signs mark a way to room 202, where a photo studio has been made available so graduates and families can take their own portraits and group photos. I'd like to ask the audience to remain in place as the stage party, followed by the faculty, and then the graduates file out. And then you can meet your graduates in the hallways or in the atrium. Congratulations and have a wonderful night.